Hey everyone, it's Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen for another installment of Q&A Fridays. Yes, it is Friday here in Sydney, of course, so we are going live back in my office, which is really nice to be back in my office, but also, it's a really I think it's a really interesting topic that we're talking about today. So we're discussing, is gut health important during a pandemic? Because one of the things that, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there, as we know. There's a lot of people who are panic buying and stocking up pantries and all sorts of stuff like that. So, is it important for us as we're going through this very uncertain time to look after our gut health, or should we just be making sure that we've got enough food in the cupboards and who cares what we're eating, right? As long as we've got enough food. So we're going to discuss that at a little bit of length. Is gut health important during a pandemic? But we're also, after that, another topic that we're going to be discussing today. And hi to Coco, who's joining me. Hi, Coco. I'm waving at her over there, and I'm waving at her over here as well. Also, we're going to the second major topic today, but please feel free to ask questions throughout, as I don't just have Coco today, who's over there, but we also have Mahi, who's helping us to moderate today as well. So any questions you have that you need answered, please let us know, and we will attempt to get to as many as possible. The second major topic for us today on our Q&A Fridays is what recipes or dishes are ideal for bulk cooking and freezing. It's been one that's come up quite a lot in the last week, especially on our private group, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family. If you are not currently a member, please join us. There's no cost involved. It literally is just a wonderful place for everyone to get together and discuss topics to do with our health and our wellness. So join us. Hi to Robin. Hi to Jane. Thank you for joining me this morning. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know how things are going in your area as well. Let me tell you about Sydney. Sydney is currently a nice, beautiful, sort of cloudy day, but still very beautiful. Well, it looks beautiful. I'm inside. This is day 14 of our quarantine, of our self-quarantine when we arrived back from our overseas travel. So this is day 14 for us. You could say that we're 2-week experts on quarantining and what that means. And so let me know how you're going. I know for New Zealand, I think you're in day 3 of the lockdown. Is it day 3 today? If you're coming to us from New Zealand, let us know as well. Let us know how it's going. We haven't had an actual, physical lockdown happen in Australia yet. Everyone is kind of people who are self-isolating, they are self-isolating. We haven't been given a directive from the government yet. I hope it happens soon, but that's just my personal opinion. And just want to know how you guys are going as well. So when it comes to our gut health, as I was saying, is it important for us to focus on that gut health now? And hi to Michelle, letting us know that Auckland is in lockdown and it's rainy. Well, Auckland's usually rainy, so being an Aucklander, born and bred, there was a lot of rain. And I don't mind rain, actually. I love rain, to be completely honest with you. For me, rain is just the healing and the cleansing of the land. So I absolutely love rain. But thank you to Michelle and letting us know how you're going in Auckland as well. And to hi to Ruth. Ruth has just joined us as well. So let's talk about gut health. Let's talk about whether this is an important thing for us to focus on during a pandemic. Because we've got all these other things, that's happening around us and happening to us. And some of them we're able to self-impose. Like, for example, Mahi and I's quarantine. We didn't have to quarantine. We actually came back before they made it mandatory to quarantine for 14 days when you landed back in Australia. We had already decided that. That was 4 or 5 days before we even started quarantining. After we started quarantining, that this became mandatory. So things are happening, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of mixed messaging, and there's definitely a lot of confusion, especially here in Australia, as we're hearing different things all the time. There isn't one solid, consistent message I'm finding from our elected officials, and so a lot of what I'm talking to you guys about in this episode of Q&A Fridays, a lot of it is common sense, but there's also stuff that may not be aware, have been aware of. Oh, it's day 2. Hi, Mum. Mum's just telling me it's day 2 of New Zealand's mandatory lockdown. And hi to Val, joining us from Geelong. Love Geelong. Can't wait to get back to your part of the world, Val. It's so gorgeous. So it's day 2 in New Zealand. Thanks for that, Mum. Don't you love mums? And my mum, by the way, my mum is working from home. Now, my mum has been working in the same vicinity for the same company for 40, I'm 45, so I would say 43 years, Mum. You've been working for Fisher & Paykel in Auckland, New Zealand. And this is the first time in 43 years Mum's ever worked from home. She must be like, party! Yay! Because she normally gets up really early and goes off to work, and and she's got this routine. She might be missing the canteen though. Maybe you're missing the canteen. But anyway, I think she's enjoying the fact that she doesn't have to hide now at work and watch my videos. She can just like lounge around and watch my videos and work at the same time, because that's really important. So let's talk about gut health and the importance during a pandemic. Let's talk about that. So simply put, is gut health important during a pandemic? Yes, it is important. Now, there's a reason why it's really important that we maintain and we look after and support our gut health during these uncertain times. And hi to Coral as well, joining us from Vladatonga. Why is it so important that we do this? Why is it so important that we take this into consideration now? Because we could just throw everything to the wind and go, it doesn't matter as long as I've got, pantry full of stuff and packets and jars and tins and stuff, I'll be fine. Why it's important is 70% of our immune system is created in our gut. So our immune system is what's going to keep us safe. And for me personally, and I can only speak to you guys from a very personal point of view when it comes to this, is that as the cook in the house, it is my role to be the gatherer. I'm not the hunter, I'm the gatherer. So I go out and I forage for food. Not foraging. I go to the supermarket, or I go to the veggie shop, or I go to the local butcher, or that's my job now. So because that's my job, I have to make sure that my immune system is top notch. And hi to Lupa joining us from Canada. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome. So, as the gatherer in the house, and we have a full house. We not just have our children with us, obviously Mahe, we also have our kids. One of those children is immunocompromised because he's been very, very sick for a long time, as a lot of you who've followed me know. So our son Mace, who's 15, he had a terrible infection. They had him in hospital for 5 weeks. He's had multiple surgeries. So his immune system, he's now with us at home, which is great. His immune system is not great. So we have to really look after him. And as well as that, we also have Mahi's parents are staying with us, my in-laws. And so they are elderly. They are in their late 70s. And, their health needs to be protected even more so, because they are literally in that target audience of people that may be affected more readily than, say, someone like myself. So I am in charge of gathering. I go out to the supermarket or the market or wherever the food is, and I gather it and I bring it in. The reason why I'm going gathering is because I'm the cook. And we don't go out as a group. Literally, I don't think I've left the house this week. The last time I left was a week ago today. Was the last time I left the house. So because I went and bought some food. But I haven't been out all this week because we've had enough food to keep us going. But because I'm the gatherer, my immune system needs to be top notch, because I need to be able to fight off anything that potentially is lurking. And as the gatherer, if I'm not looking after my immune system, if I'm not following really strict hygiene protocols, as we know, mask, hand washing, sanitizing, like literally I go into, normally I'm like shopping for food, like, and I'm smelling everything, I'm spending time and I'm picking things up and reading back labels and doing all of that, because it literally is, I don't shop for handbags, I shop for food. That's my excitement. I'm in and I'm out as quickly as possible, and I avoid touching surfaces, and I avoid doing all those sort of things that I would normally do, because I fully respect my role as the gatherer, and I fully respect the fact that I have the potential to bring stuff home to my family, to my bubble. and my bubble has people in it that are immunocompromised. So our immune system is even more important now for me, who's not a sick person, for me who is not immunocompromised. It is important that I look after my immune system now, not just for me, but for everyone in my bubble at home, in my home that I'm caring for, that I'm going out. Because if I bought something home, because my immune system let that in, or I wasn't being as careful as I should be with my hygiene, with my hand washing and my masks and all that sort of stuff, and just being aware of social distancing and all that sort of business. If I didn't do that and I brought that home, I have the potential of making, especially like we're a home where there's 9 of us in this house, I have the potential of making, especially 3 people who are elderly and 1 who's immunocompromised, of making them very, very ill. So I'm aware of that. And so for me, the importance of keeping my immune system strong now is even more important, because I'm the gatherer. I have to stay well because I leave the house. I leave the house and go out and do the stuff. So I have to stay extremely, extremely healthy. So gut health is literally the key to building and boosting and maintaining our immune system, because like I was saying, 70% of our immune system happens within our gut. And as you guys all know, and I've just been hammering on and on about this for such a long time, is that when our gut is healthy, our bodies are healthy. Everything changes when we have a healthy gut. But so much importance now is on immune systems and how we're able to keep ourselves healthy. Can we do that with food? Yes, we can. 100%. Because we are what we eat. And if 70% of our immune system is created in our gut, imagine if you're filling yourself with processed foods. Foods that have 0 nutritional value. Yeah, they may fill you up. Yep, they may make you satisfied for, half an hour or whatever it is. But if you're not putting food that supports and encourages a healthy microbiome, you are not looking after your immune system. All you're doing is filling your body up. And we know when we're eating junk, you don't feel great. Your body instantly tells you that it's not in a good place. So now more than ever, it is important that we look after our gut health, because our immune system is created in our gut. And when our gut is unhealthy, we are not at ease. Think of the word disease. Disease, it's not ease on our body. It's really, really hard. So just looking at Belinda's comments saying she's relating as a solo parent. Exactly, Belinda. You are responsible for your little ones, your young ones, for your crew, your bubble. So I'm so glad that you're with us. We're here to support you through this, because we're all in this together, and there are things that we can do to look after ourselves. Because the last thing I can imagine, Belinda, that you want to do is to bring anything back home when you're the one who's going out and you're the gatherer. You are the gatherer. So stay with us. There's lots of exciting things coming up, and we're just going to continue to support each other through this journey as well. So think about your gut. Remember where your immune system, majority of it, 70% is a lot. 70% is created within your gut, so we need to keep our gut healthy. So before I talk about what keeps our gut healthy, and I've done a class on this, a Q&A on this, I think a couple of weeks ago when we were in LA. Mahe, could you find the link to that Q&A? It's our LA one. I talked about what are really good immune boosting foods if you want to be extremely immune boosting. In saying that, literally follow the recipes out of my book. They are all gut healthy. That's what they're designed to do. But what are the foods that you need to avoid? Let's just, it's to simplify things. Let's say these are the foods that you need to avoid, and then just literally just take some of my gut health recipes. Any of them is going to help your immune system to boost and to stay maintained, as opposed to it dropping down. So food you need to avoid real quickly. You need to avoid processed foods. It kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's really important. Processed foods tend to be very high in sugar, very high in sodium, very high in fats. They don't create a positive environment in your gut. And look, it's just, like I said, what I'm saying is not news to you, but now, as opposed to, even 2 months ago, when we were even thinking about a pandemic, we were just kind of getting on with our lives. But now more than ever, we need to be very mindful of what we're eating, And are we just filling our bodies up with emptiness that creates a toxic environment in our body? Or are we putting goodness into us? Not just into us, but everyone that's around us, especially if you're like me and you are the gatherer. So stay away from processed foods. We need to also stay away from sugar. I know, refined sugar. I know, right? It is toxic. It creates a toxic environment in your body. And it's not even about, I'm not even talking about weight loss here. We know that it made me fat. I don't know about you guys. Sugar, carbs made me fat. That's all there is about it. There is nothing nutritionally valuable about sugar whatsoever, but it's that toxic environment that it creates in your gut that you want to avoid. So, sugar's bad. You guys know this, right? You totally know this. Wheat products are bad. Once again, it's those fine, highly refined carbs that you find in white flour, white rice, all that sort of stuff. Those type of things are going to create a toxic environment in your gut, which is going to decrease your body's ability to look after itself, which means your immune system is being compromised by the types of food that we put into it, which is ridiculous, but this is the state of the world because food manufacturers have taken over our supermarkets. They literally are control of the food that we see on our shelves. Hence why I definitely like to shop in markets. My favorite place to go is the veggie shop. The veggie shop's my favorite place in the world because it's just veggies and it's all beautiful, non-processed vegetables. So, think about that sort of stuff and think about just, keeping the processed foods away from you as possible, and the sugar and the wheat, the carbs, the highly refined, simple carbs. And once again, I'm talking about, white rice and white bread, all the things that people are panic buying. Oh, it just kind of makes me crazy. I know you guys watch what I'm doing, so you also know that you're on the right track as well, because you're here and you're being a part of this Q&A, and I'm sure you've downloaded one of my recipes, you've cooked some of my recipes, maybe you have a book, maybe you have an ebook, so you're already on the right track, which is awesome. And the other thing that we want to be very mindful of when it comes to our gut health and our immune system is minimizing dairy as well. So I'm not saying dairy is bad, but we need to just minimize the amount of dairy, because dairy, once again, can have a very negative effect on our gut, on our microbiome. So we're going to be getting rid of the sugar. We do that anyway. We're going to be getting rid of the wheat and all the refined carbohydrates. We do that anyway. We're going to be getting rid of the processed foods, and we're also going to be minimizing the dairy. Makes sense? I know we talk about it all this time. This is why gut health is so important now more than ever. A lot of you have joined me on this journey purely from a weight loss perspective. I shouldn't say purely, because weight loss also means better health, right? But maybe you started on this, which is what I did, because I wanted to, and I needed to lose some weight. I wanted to lose some weight because physically I look like garbage. I look like a big fatty boomsticks. I needed to lose weight because I was unhealthy, and my body and my physical and my spiritual body was not in a good place. I was depressed, I was anxious, I was moody, I had brain fog and all that sort of stuff. So maybe originally you joined us on this journey, and it's not just me, Mahay's also doing gut health as well. He just eats the food. Fancy way to say that. He said no, he's on abs health because he's got abs. A fancy way to say it is gut health. He's on this gut health journey, but he just eats his wife's food because he likes it. So. No,
I'm testing.
Oh, sorry. He's the official tester. He's the official
for everybody.
Official tester. So we're on this journey, and we started for one reason, but now what we're all realizing is that this can also support us through these other trials in our life, and this is a trial we're all going through this pandemic. This is a trial of the greatest proportions for some of us, more than we've ever experienced. I think about I've been thinking about my grandparents a lot in the last couple of days. They've all passed away now, but they lived through the Second World War, and some of them lived through the Great Depression as well, and what it meant to ration, and what it meant for your life to be completely flipped upside down on its head, which is what we're living through now. So even more than before, we need to look after our health, because it's going to be our health that's going to help us to fight off and keep these enemies and it's the enemy is the viruses that are coming, or the virus is not viruses. Well, there are viruses everywhere, but just having our body being in disease instead of being at ease. So probiotics versus prebiotics is also a really good thing to remember when we're talking about gut health. So when it comes to our probiotics, you know, those are all our greens and, you know, all those delicious, wonderful, you know, crunchy green vegetables and, you know, all that sort of gorgeous things are going to help to increase our probiotics, as well as our pickled food. You guys know I love pickles. Our fermented food as well is really, really good for us to boost those natural prebiotics in our stomach. But at the same time that we're having the probiotics, we also need to have the prebiotics. So for me, you guys know that I use inulin, which is a great way to get prebiotics into our diet. And inulin is an easily accessible source of prebiotics. And you know, if you haven't started cooking with inulin, I just think you totally should, because it means that you're looking after your probiotics by putting prebiotics into your cooking. And we know that inulin's a little bit sweet. So it's able to be used in baking and all our little treaty goods, because we are looking after our gut health does not mean that we need to not be looking after our taste buds as well, and also looking after our, you know, what satisfies us. And so you guys know I have all these treats that we can make that are sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free. So we're still looking after our gut health, but we're also looking after our soul at the same time. So for me, inulin is an absolute necessity right now, because it is that prebiotic that supports my probiotics, gives me a healthy microbiome, as well as all the delicious vegetables and, you know, and the foods that I'm eating as well. But because I'm able to cook with inulin, it means that I'm able to cook with it, which means I'm able to create healthy treats. And it's the reason why the very first product that we've ever brought to market was inulin powder. For all those reasons and more. Prebiotics supports your probiotics, keeps your gut microbiome healthy, and we're able to use it in desserts and treats and sauces, and it's fabulous. So think about that as well, supporting your microbiome with a prebiotic. And of course, inulin powder is amazing. If you want to get a bag of our inulin, we're still shipping, which is amazing. So our logistic company is still shipping our inulin, and still shipping books too, by the way. So that's not going to stop. Our logistic company will not stop shipping because they are an essential service. And so if you want to get inulin, just go to pureasinulin.com and we can ship your inulin to you. So you have your powder arrive at your door and you can start looking after your gut health. Now we had a question, Mahi.
Is inulin okay for kids?
Is inulin okay for kids? Yes, it is. So just be aware, and when you buy inulin, I have dosage recommendations on the packet. So just be aware that inulin is a dietary fiber. So it will keep you regular. It will not only, like I said, increase the positive bacteria in your gut, in your microbiome, but you can't go crazy with it because it's a dietary fiber. And if you use it in excess, it becomes a laxative. So yes, it is completely 100% safe for kids because it is made from 100% chicory root. So it's plant-based, and it is a fine white powder. It looks like icing sugar. But because it's a dietary fiber, excessive amounts can cause a laxative effect. So all my recipes have been triple, quadruple tested to make sure that you ain't going to be running off to the toilet afterwards. Because I often get asked by people like, I've got this cake recipe that I've been making for years. Could I just swap out 1 cup of sugar for 1 cup of inulin? No, no, you can't. So yeah, if you're wondering, no. All my recipes are tested to make sure that everything's okay. Remember, I've got the master tester sitting just over there. He's my guinea pig. And he's fine. So when he's not fine, we go, maybe we should reduce the amount of inulin in that dish. So yes, think about your probiotics. Think about your prebiotics. Stay away from your sugar and your wheats and your processed foods. It's going to help to boost your immune system. If you want to get a real, I dive deep into immune boosting foods, and there's a huge list of them. But if you really want to boost your immune system, Mahe threw up a link, I think, for my last Q&A when we were in Los Angeles. I did a Q&A exactly on immune boosting foods. Lots of good information in that Q&A if you want to deep dive into that sort of thing as well. Other things you can do to keep your immune system high. Food is number one, because it happens in your gut. Food is number one. You can take immune boosting supplements, of course, things like elderberry juice, little drinks that you can take, or little supplements you can put in, which are really, really good. And there's different other, vitamins and minerals that are going to help to keep your immune system high. But remember, we are what we eat, not what we supplement. We are what we eat. Food is going to be your main way to keep your immune system high. And food is also going to keep you happy. Food is going to keep your energy levels high. Food is going to keep your brain fog at bay. It's going to keep your hormones balanced. It's going to keep all those sort of things, and it's going to keep your weight down. Supplements are a nutritional support. So I'm not saying don't supplement. Please, if you feel you need to or you want to, 100%. But don't just rely on supplements only and then eat rubbish, because that doesn't work. It does not work. It's like, you might as well just throw the supplements in the bin, because it literally does not work if you're not supporting your body through the food that you're putting into your body. So supplements, remember, are a support. They're not the be all and end all, like, oh, it's all right, I'm taking lots of vitamin C, I'm going to be fine. And then you eat, 2 packets of chips, 2 bags of, 2 packets of chips and a packet of, biscuits and processed chicken nuggets for dinner. That doesn't work. It does not work. Yeah? It's almost like you can't exercise out a bad diet. It's the same thing. You can't supplement out a bad diet. They're there to supplement and support your journey. And the main thing you're doing is food. So, as well as that, supplements, yes, sleep and rest. If you are in isolation or you're quarantined, you might have more opportunity to sleep and rest than normal. Take it. Use it. It's going to help to heal your body, most definitely. Movement is another thing. Not just being sedentary is not good for our bodies, as we know. So if you're able to, jump online, and there's so many people, like personal trainers who now can't personally train anyone, they're doing free online classes. So, go onto YouTube, you will find millions, literally, or even on Facebook. My cousin Davis has started doing a HIIT training section, him and his wife, and then they've got 2 little boys. Sometimes the boys join in, and it's the coolest thing ever. He's a personal trainer, so he can no longer work, so he's just doing these free classes once a day from his home in his lounge, and it's the coolest thing ever. So movement's important. You're not doing this alone. You can use the resources that we have available through Facebook, through YouTube as well. There's so much content out there. Meditate. I've spoken about this often, how important it is to stay calm. I'll quickly move on, because I've talked about meditation before, and you can get free classes once again on YouTube, free meditation, guided meditation. But keeping calm, another way that I find keeping calm is not completely surrounding myself thinking I've got to be listening to every single news cycle on every single radio station and every single, channel that does news in the world, because you need to just sometimes unplug from that. Have your trusted news sources, definitely stick with them. Maybe choose once a day for an update. You don't have to be constantly, bombarding yourself with information from these sources, because a lot of it is sensationalized. A lot of it is said just to get you to watch or get you to click or whatever it is. There's so much misinformation out there as well. So make sure that your news sources are trusted and they're trustworthy, and don't make this your everything, that you spend all your time watching news, because that is going to really, really decrease your immune system, because your cortisol levels, which is your stress levels, every time you hear something, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Oh my God, and your stress levels are increasing, and that will negatively impact your immune system and just your health in general. So trusted news sources, try not to just make it everything that you do. I also have talked often about keeping a journal and how important it is to keep a journal. So those are kind of little things that you can do, but really, honestly guys, gut health is so important now. It is more important than, like I said, like 2 months ago. It was still important, but it's more important with this time that we're living through now. So that was the first part of our Q&A. The second part of our Q&A was asked by you guys, massive amounts of people saying to me, I need to know what recipes are ideal for cooking in bulk and then freezing. And I had to ask the question, I was like, so because I don't normally freeze my meals. I have the I suppose I have the wonderful opportunity, because I cook for a living, to cook often in small amounts. So I'm not generally a freezer. I'm a cooking from scratch. But that's because of the type of work that I do, obviously, and not all of you are in that position. So I asked the question, are people still freezing a lot of their meals, thinking like, now that you're at home and you're isolated, you can actually cook from scratch? But the feedback was, yes, they are. You are still freezing your meals. Not everyone, but some people are still freezing their meals because they're buying larger, they might buy lots of chicken from the supermarket. And rather than it go off in the fridge, they want to cook all that chicken and create it into meals. And then the meals go in the freezer. So they're not having to visit the supermarkets as often. And I went, got it. Makes absolute sense, especially if your fridge is not that big, but you've got a chest freezer. I can see where that could be really, really, really important and really vital for you guys. So we're going to talk about the recipes that are ideal for this style of creation. And some of the recipes I picked up a book, and I picked up the first book I picked up, which is Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. I picked that up, and I marked all the recipes in this book that are ideal for not just for bulk cooking, but they also freeze well and they defrost well. So I'm going to go through this book, but as I'm doing this, I want you guys please to share if there is a special one of my recipes that you have made before and that you've frozen down and you've just gone, that's fantastic when I defrost it and heat it up. Please let us know, because maybe I've missed something, or maybe it's a recipe that's only been shared on Facebook and it hasn't actually made its way into a book yet, because I can't put everything into a book all the time because books take 9 months to create and write and print. So please let us know if there's a recipe that you love. Share it with us here now, so everyone can also share in that wonder too. So the first one I'm going to go to is this one here. Now this is my chicken patties. So it is in the breakfast section of this book, but chicken patties are not just for breakfast, as you guys know. Yes, you can have that for breakfast as a nice protein heat to keep you feeling full, but chicken patties can also go into a gut healing bowl. They can be put under a salad. They can go into 2 pieces of lettuce to make a burger. And then you've already got those in the fridge. So they're really in the freezer. They're a really, really good one, and they defrost extremely well. So there's that one. There is also this one here, which is my my quiche, my chicken and gravy quiche. You don't have to use chicken. You could use turkey. You could use beef and lamb. You could make it completely out of vegetables. These quiche freeze really well as well. So you can totally do that one. Next on my list, I'm just trying to find. Here we go. Quiche is there. Oh, I put 2 tags on this. Don't know why. Oh, that's definitely not one. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Jamaican skewers are also really good. Once again, it's marinated chicken. You marinate your chicken, you freeze it down. When you are ready to, you can either freeze it down raw, so just marinated and not cooked, or you can freeze it down ready to go. You defrost it, and then you can add it into stir fries. You can put with a simple salad, whatever it is. If you're just thinking about types of meat that you can freeze, this is a real nice one. Any of my marinated meats work really well as a freezer item because they're already ready to go once you have defrosted them. Same with something like that, which is my sticky chicken. You just defrost that, and that can get thrown into whatever it is else that you're having with it if you want to do something fresh. Now, turkey meatballs, any of my meatball recipes work really well. I've got quite a few. Meatballs freeze well. Meatballs freeze well. They defrost incredibly well. They're really versatile, of course, but now I'm getting into more of the actual meals. Those were kind of like add-ons, right? Like your meat and then you add things to it. If you want to freeze complete meals, something like this, which is my lamb and broccolini stir fry, works really well, defrosts really well, very easy to cook as well. Of course, let's not forget cottage pie. Cottage pie, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have already frozen my cottage pie. You know it works fine. It's absolutely fine. Look, the cauliflower mash gets a little bit waterlogged, but apart from that, it still tastes amazing. I've got a slow-cooked lamb with broccoli there. Slow cooked is so wonderful as well. You've got time at home to put your slow cooker on, and then you just portion it out once it's done. You don't have to use lamb. You could use beef. You could use chicken. You could make it a complete, instead of using broccoli, if it's expensive, you could option it out for another vegetable if you need to. I mean, there's so many options here. So many options. Let me find the next page. Here it is. This is another great one. My fast or slow cooked beef hot roast works really, really well. You can make the mash and you can have it in your containers, and that's another one that freezes well and defrosts well. Turkey and fennel silver beef broth. If you've never made that, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And one of the things, you know, when I go to the supermarket, like especially in the meat section or I'm in the butcher's, I do find that meats that aren't as common tend to be still there, even if I go in the afternoon to the supermarket, which I try to do because I try and avoid the mass crowds, which usually happen earlier in the morning. I find that things like turkey are still on the shelves, turkey mince, you know, turkey breast, all that sort of, they're still there. So you might find that you might start to eat, you know, other types of meats that you wouldn't normally eat because that's what's available. But, you know, chicken's still readily available, and as they've been telling us, they're not going to run out of food. The food is still going to be delivered. We just need to stop going crazy. Remember I talked about turkey meatballs before? Here's how you can make that into a dish. This is my turkey meatball with choy sum fennel stew. That works well. And in fact, look how many more I've got in here. And the only reason, oh, this is nice too, pulled chicken. That freezes really, really well. And as I was saying, what we're going to do is first, if you've got any ideas about recipes that you think that we can, that works for you in the freezer, the other thing that we're going to do is I'm going to start a thread on our private group, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family. We're going to start a private thread there. And what we're going to do with that thread is we're going to make it a working document that we're going to keep in the files on that group. And it's literally going to be all the perfect freezer meals that you can get. So if you want to come and be a part of that thread, let us know what works for you. But please, if you are going to be a part of that thread, just let everyone else know where you got the recipe from. So is it from the yellow book or is it from the green book? Just so people know where to find it, which would be really, really awesome. Now I've got a question. Yes, Mahi?
Just lost it.
Oh.
It had to do with, one sec.
I'll just get me on the question.
How do we protect ourselves with fresh produce, lettuce, like coleslaw, for example, from the supermarket? You know about it?
So you're talking about, I'm not sure, you're talking about pre-made coleslaw?
It's from Ruby Moon.
Yeah, if you're talking about pre-made coleslaw, I would probably make my own. That's the best way that you can protect yourself. So, yeah, coleslaw's really easy to make. You just cut up cabbage really, really fine and then add maybe, you know, another little type of vegetable and some fresh herbs. It's really easy to make. So I would definitely make my own rather than buying pre-bagged. And when you bring your vegetables home from the supermarket, what's a really good idea is to make sure that you wash all the vegetables off. So I like to soak everything, whether it be cabbage, fennel, you know, if I bought some broccoli or I have some fresh herbs, I soak everything in a sink full of water, and I also put about 1/4 cup of white vinegar into that as well, which is going to help to just kind of nullify anything that's on there. Any pesticides as well, they tend to really benefit from doing the soak, so you don't want to have pesticides on your food. So if you are looking into fresh vegetables, how can you protect yourself? Wash them. Wash them before you use them. If you must buy pre-made coleslaw, then you need to wash that as well. So it's not going to be as wonderful as just taking it out of the bag, and it's so convenient. But if you are buying pre-made salads, like already in bags, you want to wash those before you use them. And how to get the water out of them, I remember that sink with white vinegar. It's a really nice way to do it. If you want to get the water out of the vegetables that you've just soaked in the sink, the best way to do that is with a salad spinner. So if you can, you know, order online a salad spinner to be delivered and you don't currently have one, it's going to be a lifesaver, especially with your delicate lettuces, with your fresh herbs, all that sort of stuff. Your salad spinner just makes sure to get all the water off it, because you don't want to have waterlogged vegetables then being put into your fridge. So sink, white vinegar, salad spinner. That's my tips on that one. Definitely. Another recipe, fish tagine. So any type of, you know, dish like that is going to freeze really, really well. So if you think about anything in my books that are curries, they're stews, they're slow cooked, they're pressure cooked, these type of recipes tend to work really, really well, including, I think I've got it here, something like this, a fish pie, right? That is going to freeze really, really well, and it's going to defrost really, really well as well. So think about those type of recipes within the book. And there are more in there, and there's so many more. And if I'm going over to the green book, the only reason I don't have as many here in the green book is because I ran out. I ran out, not even halfway through the book. I ran out of these little tags. But once again, I'm talking about meatballs. They all, you know, they all freeze really, really well. Oh, here's my Japanese curry. Apart from the egg, you don't want to freeze that, but definitely freeze that Japanese curry. It was so wonderful. We had it yesterday. It was so good. Look how much I enjoy that. Do you see the stains on my page? Yeah, that's how much I enjoy that one. That's a good one. As well as that, I'll show you one that you potentially want to avoid freezing, just so you get a bit of an idea. You want things that are robust, things that can handle that freezing process. Things that can't really handle that freezing process very well is this one here. So this is my spaghetti bolognese. So the mince here freezes extremely well. So does my tomato sauce. So does my kombu water. They all freeze really well. Garlic, ginger, you can freeze all that sort of stuff. But you see those noodles under there, the zucchini noodles, they don't freeze well. So yes, you can make the mince and then mix it with other stuff. You know, you could, like I said, you can mix it with other vegetables that you cook a bit fresher. You can mix it with you know, even cauliflower mash would be pretty delicious. There's things that we can definitely mix it with, but not zucchini noodles. Anything that's delicate or has a very, very high water content, you probably want to avoid freezing that. But there's portions of the recipes that you can definitely freeze. Any of my curries. This is my Masamam beef curry. Gosh, if you haven't tried this, it is so sensational. So sensational. And I'm actually serving it there. That's not rice, that's cauliflower rice. And yes, you can freeze cauliflower rice as well. So you can freeze that down quite happily. So any of my curries, and I got so many wonderful curries. I want to show you my absolute favorite curry. I change all the time, but this is my current favorite curry. It's my chicken tikka masala. Oh, it's so good. It is so delicious. So it's like, oh gosh, I want to eat that right now. Haven't had breakfast, haven't had lunch. I want to eat that right now. So any of my curries freeze really, really well. Things like pies, tagines, all that sort of stuff. You know, even my vegan pulled pork freezes really, really well. But you know, definitely come and join us. Come and join us on the private page, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family. It's free to join. Doesn't cost any money. Just come over to the dark side and join one of our private groups. It's just where we can chat a bit more openly. It's a lot easier to use than Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, you know, the public page on Facebook. I can't even see your messages, whereas I can actually see people's posts and messages come up instantly. I get reminders of them. That's our private group. We'll be setting up a thread about people's favorite freezer ready meals. So meals that freeze well and that are good made in bulk. If you want to add your comment to that, please do over on our private page. We're going to be setting that up right now. Please come over and join, add your comment, but all we ask is when you add your comment about a meal that's worked for you, a recipe that's worked for you, let the people know what book it came from. So if it was, you know, Bridget's chicken tikka masala from the green book, you don't have to put what page it is, just say it's from it's from the green book. It's going to be really helpful. Otherwise we're going to get people coming along on that thread and just going, where can I find the recipe? Where can I find the recipe? Which we want to avoid. So if you can be a little bit helpful about where you got that recipe from, green book, yellow book, you know, or even you've seen it in a video and you can share that video, that would be so helpful for this wonderful working document that we're going to create, that we can look back, I mean, even when this is all over, and it will end. This is all temporary, right? This is temporary. This will all end and life will start getting back to normal. We can still use that document that we've created because people are still going to get back into their busy lives and they're going to want to freeze meals and know what works really well, what can be defrosted really well, and it's delicious still. So this document's going to be really important for us in a long time to come, because it's your input about what you like. It's myself as well sharing what I know freezes well, what I know scientifically defrosts well, and it's going to stay really delicious. So that is today's class. I need to go, or today's Q&A. I actually need to go and set up now for our quarantine kitchen, which I missed yesterday because we had a power cut. Like just before we were going to go live, we had a power cut. We had no Wi-Fi and I had a flat phone and couldn't even record anything. It was completely died and I had it plugged in. I was ready to go live and like, power cut. So apologies if you were going to join us yesterday for our quarantine kitchen. We're doing that today at 12 o'clock. So I don't even know what time it is. What's the time now, please, Mahi?
10:46.
10:46. So in an hour and 10 minutes, we're going to be going live again. This time from the kitchen, and we're doing chef's tips and hints and secrets. This is what you guys asked for. So we're going to be learning, you know, the fastest way to peel garlic, the best way to cut fruit. Real simple stuff, but definitely things that will make your life in the kitchen so much more pleasant when you know these little secrets that all chefs kind of know. We know this stuff. So I'm going to be sharing those with you guys in an hour and a quarter coming from the kitchen this time, our quarantine kitchen. But thank you for joining me today. Please, wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, wash your hands, look after your family, look after yourself. And we will see you this time next Friday for another Q&A, but make sure you join me in an hour in the kitchen for our quarantine kitchen. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.